piece of it.
Hey, it's Shop Talk, baby. This is the show where it's okay to be you. We're talking from Yale to jail and from the church house to the pimp house. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, we keeps it real. Good morning to you. How's everybody doing today?
Great,
that's it. Can we do what we do? You don't sound good. Look at Nick. She half sleep up in this mug. Trying to get some things going on. You asked for something. I don't know what it was.
I wanted a piece of paper.
A piece of paper?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. I got plenty of paper. I write stuff down as we do the show. Today's show is, let's not rip that because I need that part.
I just
from the back or just roll it?
From the back. Yeah,
there you go.
That's all I need.
All right. Today's show is Everyday People. So what's happening? What happens every day? Oh, you got some gummy bears?
I do.
Is that for holidays? Is that for me or is it we talking about movie?
I get them pre-open. Yeah.
Pre-open?
Pre-open.
Love it.
We talk about movies today, and so I brought in a snack of mine that I like to eat at the movies. As you can see, it's only a few in here. Actually, I took them to the movies, and I went to go see Us. And unfortunately, I forgot to take them out of my pocket.
Oh.
So there they are today.
You lucked out. Hey, at least you didn't eat all of them?
I didn't eat none of them. These is like a bag I bought before that I didn't finish. And then I was like, I got those gummy bears. I got those gummy worms. Let me grab them and take them to the movies.
All right, listen, we usually do hot topics. We talk about what we're going to talk about, but I'm excited. So, with that being said, Rulo, what's happening in the movie world? You started it because you said Us.
But that's why I wanted the paper. Yeah, I need to write down a few things.
Let's just talk about Us for a little bit.
Did you see it?
No.
Did anybody here see it?
Not yet. I wanted to go last night, but didn't get a chance to
All right. Well, this is a thing. I can't really talk about it, because if I talk about it, then I spoil it. Because it's like... It's okay, this is what I'm going to say. Though. I'm just going to talk about Us. But I'm not going to talk about Us.
Okay.
No spoilers. No spoilers. There will be no spoiling of the show. Okay. As we know, this is Jordan Peele's second movie. Get Out was his first. If you didn't see Get Out, I don't know where you've been at. But he did win an Oscar for writing that. And Daniel Kaluuya was nominated for Best Actor for Oscar for that role. And he seems to be repeating himself. When I say that, as far as like Jordan Peele, as far as like really getting great performances out of people, really, really doing great things with this genre that hasn't been really kind of done like this before. Now, the thing with Us is not like Get Out. It's not like Get Out. I'm gonna put it like it's not like Get Out. I'm putting that out there. Like, it's not like here's this social commentary about a black man, and we're gonna put it in this mode. It's not like that at all. It's like, and this was the thing. After I get done watching it, I was like, well, what do you think? And I was like, I gotta process that. You know what I mean? I had to process it, because like there's so many things that I took from it. But the thing is that watching his movie, especially this is how, when I think about Us and I think about Get Out, he sends you treasure hunting a lot. He sends you on this scavenger hunt of like, what is it that I see? What is it that I like from it? Things that don't even necessarily have anything to do with like the overall movie, but it's like these things where like for example, and this is no spoiler. For example, the lead person in the movie, the leading actor, what's his name? Winston. He was the one in Black Panther. But anyway, he's wearing a Howard sweatshirt.
Okay.
Right, but his character, you can tell he's like well educated, like down to earth type of guy. Like, you know, it seems to be somewhat successful, you know, from how they're doing it. But it was good to see it. It was good to see that tidbit of something where it was like I don't know if he graduated from Howard, but he's wearing a Howard sweatshirt, so I'm assuming that he's doing
it's important.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And so it has nothing to do with the movie, but the point was that what he gave you there was like, oh, and then the guy, he didn't have like, it's a part where he tries to get tough or whatever, and his get tough is funny. Like, it's not natural at all. It's like, hey, I'm just like a guy who, I do what I do and this is what I do. You know what I mean? But he's true to him. You know what I mean? Like he kind of got away from the John, like this cat had no code switch. You know what I mean? like he had no code switch, but it was cool though, because not everybody has to switch their code. You know what I mean? But the point was that it was things like that I was like, man, that's cool. You know? Oh,
that you liked it as watching it. Okay.
But the thing is, it's not Get Out.
Look, as I stir.
Yeah, as you stir. Yeah. I mean, because there's things happening, and then like. It's a key point in there where like it almost like you get nostalgia because it starts off in 1986. And
so it takes you back. Okay.
Yeah. But the movie itself, like there were people who walked out and they were like, I don't even know what happened.
Oh, you leave you like that?
Yeah, but also these was the same people who was like, you know, it's people like this is why I don't like going. I went on Thursday.
Okay.
I went on Thursday at 7 because I was like, man, I got to do something because I just not been myself lately. But anyway, I was like, I'm just gonna go. At 2:00, I seen it's like, oh, it's like 2 seats free, and they're in the back. Cool. So here it is. I went to the, you know, one of those laid back ones and all that kind of stuff. So I'm in there, and then you know, I'm next to a millennial. And I'm thinking, okay, she looked kind of like she woke. You know, it's going to be cool. You know, next thing I know, she breaking out the cell phone. I'm like, come on, man. Come on, man.
You ain't say that to her?
Man, it was like I wanted to. But then I was just like, I don't want to. Because at the same time, it was like a row of people who you could tell kind of caught the wave to come to the movie. Like they may not have been first adapters to Get Out, but then they saw it and then they like caught the wave. And so they there. And the reason I got my pre-open snacks is because like the snacks was important to them. And you know, like it would be a couple funny parts where it was just meant to kind of keep things moving and they still laughing about it. You missing other key points of the plot.
Oh gosh.
You know? Then it was this other dude who I don't know why he kept getting up. It was like I wanted to like I wanted to be like, do you want an aisle seat? Because he kept getting up. This guy got up. Now we only in the movies for about 2 hours. You know what I mean? And he had to get up 3 times. But that's 6 times you passing me.
So you got to keep. Yeah, okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like I was just like, I don't understand this. Like what's
I
going
look
on?
Like 6 times. Yeah, because he got to come back.
Yeah, he got to come back. It wasn't like he was just leaving, you know. And then it was like, then I took my wife.
Y'all gotta see his face.
Which it was like, it was cool, but it's like okay, all right, this ain't the time to point out things. Like you know, I went to a movie one time and they were talking, and it was a picture. They had something on there about JFK, and this lady in front of me went on this damn monologue about where she was at when JFK died. I swear to God.
In the movie?
Yeah, in the movie. You know, but this was not in that movie. This was just another experience. And she's telling me about, I'm like, come on, man. You can tell, like, that's like information you can save for later. Or then it's the question of like, okay, this is really kill me. Like, we both watching this together, and you asking me stuff, and it's so funny how this is the funny part about it. You asking me stuff, you really value my opinion at that point. But when you marry and you get asked a question in any other damn arena, they don't give a shit what you say. They don't give what you say. But let you be focused on the movie that they watching too, and they will ask you, well, what do you think is gonna happen now? Well, what's your? I'm like, you never want my opinion on anything. And now do you want it?
Questions while we both watching the same movie. Why are you watching the same thing I'm watching at the same time? Don't ask me.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking like, how come the power dynamic doesn't stay like that throughout the whole relationship? Because obviously you the go-to person. You know what I mean? So they're like, well, you know, I'm like, no, don't ask me that. Don't ask me nothing. I'm watching it like you watching it. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm like, oh Lord. But it was because there's stuff in there that happened in the movie where I'm like, oh yeah, that's really cool. This is really that. But I ain't gonna talk about it because I'm trying to stay immersed in the viewing thing. Uh-huh. So, would I pay to go see it again? Yes.
You won't pay to go see it again? Is it because of all the distractions, or is it because it was a good movie?
It was good to me. It was good to me. But the thing was, it's one of those movies where you gotta go in there and you gotta, not like you gonna miss anything. If you watch it and you grab a head of popcorn, you ain't gonna miss anything. But what he makes when he makes his movies is that you need to, like, it's one of those things where you kind of need to just be like, get into your sunken place to watch it. Pun intended. Okay. You know what I mean? Like,
some of the other clues, because you caught the Howard Sweatshirt. I was looking on Facebook where they had some kind of commentary before the movie came out, and they said, had people looking for certain clues. Yeah. The beginning of the movie was the music. I got 5 on it, and they explained the analogy for that. The little boy's T-shirt, Jaws, and the mask that he had on. And then they
they talking too much. I don't want to hear that because I ain't gonna see it yet. That's too much. I need to find out after. But back to what you said as far as the sunken place.
Yeah.
Now I like that because you got to just tune everybody else out and just focus on what you're focusing on.
Because it's meant to be. And to me, it was meant to be one of those things where you want to be able to just really get in it. Because, like, okay, this is what I will say. This is not about the movie, but it's just about the acting of it. There was some really good acting. That Lupita Nyong'o, if I hope I pronounced her last name right, she was really good. Like she could have her, like, they should be really trying to line her up in all kinds of suspense thrillers because the way she was looking, it's just like, she great whatever she do, but it was kind of like, I don't know, I assume y'all seen 12 Years a Slave.
I haven't. Did you?
Yeah,
y'all did. Look at Tim. I'm the only one that did.
Excellent.
But go ahead,
She
spoil
was
it.
good in that movie.
Man.
Very good.
Remember the scene where, in 12 Years a Slave, there's a scene where she's explaining, I guess she has some privileges and she could go to another house, right?
Okay.
And so at that time, like, the lady would give her, like, whoever she was visiting would give her, like, a piece of soap. And the guy who owns the place, he was pretty much raping her, you know what I mean? And so he was getting, like, real jealous of her leaving and stuff like that. And so she goes into this explanation of, like, you don't know how bad I stink. Like, I'm getting this bar, like, you giving me a lot of shit over this bar of soap. Like, I'm trying to get this soap so I can wash up. Like, she's like, I pick more cotton than anybody else. I do this, I do that, blah, 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 blah. But she's like, I stink so bad I can't even stand myself.
Okay.
Right? So, if you remember the intensity in that part of the movie, like, she bring that all throughout.
2 dings for the S word.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought that was a FX TV word.
It's about to be, ain't it?
Well, anyway, yeah. I'm sorry. She cut me off. She's like, I know you only deal in escalation. It'll go from that.
Absolutely. Yes.
But the thing is that like the way she twists you got I don't want to. She does a great job.
Okay.
Pretty much everybody does a great job in what they're in there to do. He brings out the best in his people.
Now with Peele, this is just me just looking at and I want all of y'all to, you guys are moviegoers. I'm not. I'm a snacker. I catch the wave. Yeah, I'm a waver. Well, with looking at the little the advertisement for the trailer, put it that way, for Us. First, I was like, okay, that don't look like it's a family movie for little kids. I was scary with the trailer, and you know how sometimes the trailer shows like the best part of the movies. Mm-hmm. Would you say that the trailer with the movie Us, is it better than the trailer, or is that the scariest part?
No, that ain't the scariest part. But that part in the trailer where you talking about where they say it's a family outside.
Right, yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, but the thing is like in the audience that I saw it in, there was some funny parts that was happening. There was some stuff that was happening where like the audience took away from the drama being built up.
Oh, the music.
No, the audience they took away from like if they would have just been quiet and let it just be itself.
That's what I'm saying. Was it music that was quiet? Did you hear the music coming? Because music would be like, you'd be like, oh, here it comes.
Like sometimes it's just like I don't even remember if there was a score playing when that part happened because that scene was long. It was like it happened and then it's like, well, what is this? And then let me check and see what's going on. That kind of stuff. But as it was happening, it's like. Like, why would you, like, in your head, in my head, I'm like, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? But the energy from the audience, they didn't keep it internal. You know what I mean? And so it was just kind of like, things that he was saying was funny, but it wasn't funny enough for you to laugh through like 15 seconds of what was coming next, So let's say if that whole thing was 3 minutes, like it was one of those things where it was just like that is that's their discovery of what's happening. Then they get real.
It looks like that's one of those movies that you need to go at a different time where there is nobody in there so you can concentrate on.
So would I watch that? I'm a scary person, so me watching scary movies, should I go see that like during the day, or at night? Is it going to give me like night terrors? I am that person. I didn't think that. What's this? The Sunken Place. I didn't think that was a scary movie. I thought it was very informative.
Yeah.
Did you think that was scary?
This is okay.
I didn't see it yet. What is
didn't see Get Out?
You ain't see Get Out?
Oh yeah, Get Out. I thought you was talking about a different movie. It wasn't scary. It was crazy. But it wasn't scary to me. But it was good. It was very good, and it
was scary to me.
I think the men were really scared. Did you see
you're a black man?
Like it was scary. It was horrifying.
Dude, like.
I was like, I know what you're talking about, brother. I know.
And you know what? And I would say that, especially with the school that you attended, it was a very scary. Yes, it was a scary movie for him.
But it was also like the thing for Get Out was the relationship he had with his friend. Like you got that one person you call, you be talking stuff through or whatever, and it's like that person you be like, man, what's going on? Like that movie really connected with me on a few different levels. But this movie, I think, has the ability to connect with anybody.
Okay.
And I think that's the beauty of this particular movie. Because it's not so, like, there's things that you can definitely say, oh, this is this. I can get this, I don't want to say, I don't know why semblance is coming in my head, but I don't even know if I'm saying it right or whatever. But you can get you can get something from that and say, oh, I could understand that. But it's not really focused on the African American male experience that you get from Get Out.
Okay, so it's not really just overall just a family.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things where you can look at it and say, oh,
internal issues that we have with ourselves.
Yeah. But you gotta. I tell you what. I'm giving everybody a week to go see it, and then
I need a date because my husband will get in there and go to sleep within the first 2 minutes. I don't care how excited.
Well, guess what? Here's the difference. He said his wife asked a whole bunch of questions, and you said that your husband will go to sleep. Sound like you the winner. Like, you can sit there and watch a movie in peace. I'll go, but I'm scary. I'm like, I don't want to be scared to death. And the way that when I looked at the commercial, like preview type thing,
it's a little bit of.
I'm like, I don't know if I want to move into a new house.
Well, it's not on that.
It's not.
That isn't the. That
isn't that the
what's
vacation
going.
home?
Yeah. It's that the house ties into it, but it doesn't tie into it the way you thinking of.
Okay.
And that's the thing about what he gives you is like you're like, okay, or you think it's gonna connect this way, but then it connects in a whole different other way. But when you like, I can't tell you what I want to say without saying
giving the movie away.
All right, so next week.
So what it sounds like is a lot of movies are like wade in the water movies. You look at the pool, you can see straight to the bottom.
Right.
His movie is more like the deep end of the pool movie, where you got to really get into it and get the message. It's thought provoking. It's not like in your face. You got to pay attention. Like the guy who went past him 6 times, he had to miss something, because the way the movie goes, if you're not paying attention, there are just key points that you may miss as you watch the movie.
Yeah.
That's why that is Kim Ham, the go-to girl. She will analyze it and put it together for you.
And
a phrase. I mean, real quick. That was good.
Because the thing is, it's like dialogue. Like some of the stuff is like is dialogue that like you gotta really think about what the people are saying. Like not even really think about, but you gotta be in the moment when it's happening. But if you got somebody walking past, you got a light shining into the side of your eye and all that other stuff, you know.
That phone.
Yeah.
Let me say this, and next week we're gonna talk about the Us. I'll make y'all help me remember that part. I want you to finish. Rotten Tomatoes. Did they grade it yet?
The critics gave it like a 98.
Oh, that's pretty good.
The commercial I saw said 100%.
It was 100% at one time.
Okay, now they.
When it first came, it was 100%. But then like the fans, they had it like 78.
I don't ever go
78.
The
fans.
Yeah. The fans had it.
What was their feedback on that?
This is, and I didn't read any of the fans' feedback on why.
Well, we ain't going to either because they a mess. You got trolls.
But the
but 78.
That's a.
Well, that's good though. I mean, like we kind of judge it kind of hard. I mean, but that's the thing.
That's probably because they were in the shallow end of the pool and they understand what they were
exactly
and on their cell phone.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Because like if you, I mean, like it was people who walked out and they seemed like they was like I'm sure it was people who walked out like I don't like it, you know, or I can't, you know, I'm sure. I'm sure because my wife went to the bathroom and there's some ladies who was in the movies with us. I'm like, well, hell, they was part of the reason. You know what I mean? They don't know because they're
not here.
Yeah, they here, but they wasn't even in the moment. You know, it's like, you know, like they wanted it. He ain't gonna spoon feed you.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
some people like that wade in the water effect. It's right in your face. They're entertaining you. They're giving it to you. You don't have to think. You just watch, be entertained, and go home. But his movies
make you think.
You got to go beneath the surface with his movies.
Yeah,
it's not.
I thought it was grand the way he portrayed Get Out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because I think if it was one of those, as you call it, shallow ends of the pool, that movie wouldn't have made it. They'd have been like, nah, we ain't gonna do that.
And this was one thing I told, because my one buddy, he's going to see it today, and so I couldn't talk to him about it really. But I told him he had to. It was important for Jordan Peele to do Get Out first, then this one.
I would probably think so.
Yeah, I didn't even
see this one.
I don't know if it'll work. I mean, he would have had success, but I don't know if it'll work the other way around.
So
as it would, I don't think the success would have been so as grandiose. Like like Get Out is. It's a different movie. They different movies.
Totally different.
They different movies. You know what I mean? I mean they both in the same genre of things, but they're different. It's not like he's like the first one he came out with some major social points, and it was like in your face, bam, 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 bam. You know, and you could kind of watch that one and get the feel for it without necessarily being stuck in like, oh, did I miss something that they didn't say? You know, it was like he was introducing to us what his Rubik's Cube of movie making was. Right. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, I want to let you have a quick solve on this one. You gonna get four. This it was 6 sides of a triangle. Yeah, six sides, right? 6 sides of a square. 6 sides, right? If you get a square, a cube,
yeah,
6 sides. Okay,
look, I had this.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
2, 4, 6.
Yeah. Like
I had to think about it. Like, wait a minute.
Like he gonna like and Get Out. You gonna have like those. You gonna walk out of there with like 3 to 4 of those already the colors matching. But then when you start to think about it, you be like, dang. Okay, now I see this, and I can see where the other 2 sides I had to get, and I got them. You know, but in this one, he only giving you like 2. He giving you 2. He's like, hey, I want to help you solve these 2 colors, and then the rest of this you gotta dive in here and kind of like really like pick it apart for what you think it is. And I think the good thing about this movie is that people can walk out there with a totally different experience. You know, it was great that. I mean, like in all horror movie genres, usually, there's a female protagonist that lives strong, and he follows that suit again. You know, it's really good.
All right, so I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah, because it's some stuff that got to be broke down. It's stuff that got to be like broke down.
So we're gonna get a people another.
We gonna get another week.
Next week is on. Spoiler alert.
Another week.
Yeah.
And Easter, it falls late this year, so y'all ain't got no excuse. So y'all ain't gotta. I mean, go get your shopping out the way or whatever. If you gotta go get your Easter suit or something, that's cool. But be ready to talk about it in a great length, in great full detail. But it is a good experience, and I'm happy that he's making these things. And somebody was saying like, well, he's like that. Like I seen somewhere they was comparing him to Alfred Hitchcock. He on his way. He definitely on his way, and he has he's also doing the Twilight Zone, which is going to be on CBS, and that drops in like mid or late April.
Who, Peele?
Yeah.
Now the Twilight Zone, y'all remember the Twilight Zone? It was like, that was scary.
Some of them were thought provoking. Some of them were just plain stupid.
Well, I'm with you. Said just plain stupid. That's Nick. You heard it, the voice of the community.
This genre is thought provoking horror.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go as a non-movie goer like that. I'm gonna go because I did think it was like buying a new house, but you said it's a vacation home, and just looking at it, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go, because in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's kind of scary. And let me tell you what I did. Looking at it, I'm a visual person. Seeing them outside, I'm like, it's a family out there. In my mind, I already wrote it, just like you said, the shallow end. Yeah. In my mind, I said, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be moving into a new house. What if somebody be too good to be true? How much y'all selling this house for? $35,000. It's a mansion. Wait, it's going to be something in it. You know, so that was, now I done wrote it all in my head. And what you're saying is something totally different. So it's probably like the people in the bathroom and getting up the.
Well, I had said something a little bit more. Okay, like, and I'm only making this comparison because they're black filmmakers, right? But like, okay, when you go to see a Tyler Perry movie, it's pretty much. Now, I didn't see the last one. I didn't see the who's the one that was that? Acrimony, I think it was.
Oh, that was good.
I didn't see that one.
That was like the best of all of them.
Okay, I did not see that one.
Okay.
Because I was,
Taraji, she brought it like usual. That
she did. That was a different movie than all the other Tyler Perry movies.
Yes.
I did that movie I did not see.
Okay.
That one you have to see.
Yeah, you see that one, you might become a fan.
All right. But when I think about like some of the stuff where you think like, okay, like let's say the Medeas.
Go to jail and all that.
I mean, those
he done with Medea.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Let me get his point.
But the thing I'm saying is like, like in his movies, and I haven't seen that one. I've seen pretty much all. I didn't see all the Medea boo. I didn't watch, but I watched some of them.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And so when I see his movies, even the ones that were like not really focused on Medea, but somebody else or whatever, it really formulaic. You know what I mean? And like in this, Jordan Peele, I mean, there's a formula, of course, but there's self-discovery along the way.
That's a great description. Okay, thanks.
I mean? And so, that's the difference. And I think like when I see some people, I was like, oh, they probably fans of just going, it's great they support, like, hey, go out there and support the arts. It's great. You get out of what you want to get out of it. You know what I mean? But it was just like you could tell like some people maybe like it wasn't their thing to watch like thrillers, like it wasn't like this. Maybe not their genre of movie, but they trying something new, and that's cool too.
Okay.
My question is, when did he go from being silly to doing this?
But you know what though? He probably had it the whole time because comedians are very intelligent.
Right.
They are very intelligent, and I got to say, what pulls me in, even with his first movie, he had comedy in it. So it's like, oh wait a minute, and like I said, I looked at. Y'all know how I analyze things, my lens. I'm like, what am I getting out of this? And that's in everything that I do. Mm-hmm. And honestly, and this is it too, and I know my mom is listening, how can I benefit? She'll be like, yeah, yes, it is all about me. Everybody need to look that way. How can I benefit by watching this movie? Let me see, what am I learning? What am I gaining? Mm-hmm. And what I got, it was very informative, and me loving Black history as a little kid. As a little kid, and I'm back to Get Out, even though we know that's old. Y'all need to go see that. As a little kid, I knew exactly what it was. Exactly. When he went there and they, I'm going to introduce you to the family. I knew exactly. Almost, I ain't lying, I felt like I was reincarnated because I will never forget, it was a place called the Marketplace. Didn't know that yet. And my uncle, we're down in North Carolina. And I go into this place. Did I share this with y'all before? Mm-mm. I go into this place in this little area, like a gazebo almost. And I could hear like the commotion. It was just me there. And my mom, they were all there. It was just me there. And I can hear like just a lot of commotion. And I was like, something happened here. And I asked my uncle, I said, what happened there? Because I went there we were all walking. I was in there by myself. And I'm like, looking around. I was like, something is going on in here. And that's when he told me, he said, that's called the Marketplace. I said, what? He was like, that's where they sold slaves. Mm-hmm. It was like, I can hear it. I was like, something, because I felt different.
Were you in Wilmington?
I can't even remember. He took us to different places.
Okay.
And when I stood there, it was like I felt it. Yeah. And I heard, when I say I heard it, it was like a big commotion. And I was younger. I was a lot younger. And I just heard like a whole bunch of commotion. I was like, and I just felt real crowded and just different. And I said, what happened there? And then when he shared what happened, I was like, wow. It makes you think. I was like, what's going on with me? So when he introduced them in the movie, I felt that same spirit, that same energy, should I say. I felt it. I was like, and then at the end he showed, I was like, bingo.
But it's something that's funny about when you talk about those colonial towns like that.
Uh-huh.
It is kind of eerie. Like, I mean,
so you feel it too?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all. I've been to a few of them, especially when I was running track in college. We used to go like in the winter time. We would go to the warmer climates and run and stuff, and like it would be where was one? We went to what was it? The school was called Jefferson and something. I can't remember the name of it, but I think it was in Virginia. Then I was in North Carolina or whatever, but these was like coastal cities where they had like ports and stuff, and it was just, it gives you that thing like, yeah, this ain't really, I mean, because it's funny, they have an experience and be like, oh, this is the history of this and this.
Right, and that's how they just saying it.
And you kind of feel like, yeah, but I was on the other side of that history.
Right,
and
my
it's-
energy is
you know
some
what I mean?
type of
It's-
way.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a
All
place
the
where you
time.
felt like that?
All the time. And my daughter does it too. Like when they had to go to Boston and they were learning about, she couldn't go where they were doing the Salem witch trials. There were certain things she could not approach because the energy was so strong for her that she could not even engage in the tour. She could feel it. It was there. And yes, I do that all the time.
What about you, Nick? Have you ever had that feeling before? Where you be like, something ain't right.
All the time. In certain places. All the time.
You say yeah.
All the time, yeah.
I'll say this. Remember before 45 got into office, and we could feel the energy, and then they'd be like, "Oh, racism, that was a long time ago," and you could feel the energy in your present place. You know what I'm saying? And then now to 45, everybody exposing themselves and saying it. It's like, oh, oops, sorry. I had a Caucasian friend. And she is one of those people that, now I worked with her. I shared this story about our names. She has like a black name, and then the little white lady, I told y'all about that, right?
I think, I can't remember her name, but.
The little white lady comes and she said, yeah, they take it. I was like, that's not me, I'm Melanie. She was like, huh? Wrong
That
one.
happened to me with my coworker.
Yeah.
That happened to me and a coworker before.
I'm Melanie, I'm not Renee.
I was in a meeting once, right? And so they introduced me in my first name. They did short, whatever. And so a person that was there after, influential person, and I don't know why he said this. He was like, what's your first name? And I was like, it's this. And it was like, and
what he thought was gonna be Ronkel?
Yeah. So it was just like, no, I was like, Reagan. Yeah, and I'm just like it was just so, but the thing I was like, why is that important to you? Like, what point were you trying to prove to yourself or to somebody else? Were you planning on having a conversation with your golf buddies about how black people have to change their first names because their parents give them bad names or something?
Or go by that, somebody locally to go by their middle name instead of the first name. Yeah.
And I know people who do that too. They're like, I just don't like my first name, whatever it is. But the point is like, I was like, what? Why did you even I knew what he was doing. Okay. But I wasn't in a situation to call his ass out.
That was my situation.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't in a situation to call him out. But I knew what he was doing. Mm-hmm. But my thoughts were, I should have been like, well, why would that be important to you? Because technically, you can call me by my last name and put a Mr. in front of it.
I heard that.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Put a lid on it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got to call me nothing else but that. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, what do I like? You all, and that's the messed up part about it. Is like you always find yourself in a compromising position where you have to defend yourself, but you got to think about who else do I put in jeopardy when I say that? I'm not talking about the people at work or whatever.
Right.
I mean, they gonna work it out because they gonna work it out if they fire me that day. I'm talking about the people I got to take care of.
Right.
And I just I had this experience where it just kind of made me feel like I felt bad about having a family. Just because I just kind of felt like if I didn't have a level of responsibility, I would get writing your stuff right now. And not fighting them, but in a major way where it would be like, this is what's up.
Right, okay.
You find yourself kind of having to hold back sometimes, you know what I mean?
Because of your legacy.
I'm always holding
That's why
back.
people tend to, if you notice the people that don't have children, and you're like, they're okay with taking the villain role. I.e. Tracy. I'll just put her out there. I.e. Oni. Omarosa. You know what I mean? So, but when you have children, you'd be like, how would this potentially affect my children if I'm this way? Because they're going to have to deal with the backlash or what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to share your story. Kim, the hand to go to, girl.
Which story?
Pick one.
So many. Which story?
In the name game.
We started off with the name game. So it was me and my Caucasian coworker, and she had a different name. My name is Kim. Caucasian man walks up to the table. We're doing a health fair in the local mall.
Okay.
So it's like people everywhere.
Uh-huh.
So he comes up and we're talking about what we do for the place that we work in. And he said, so what are your names? She said her name. I said my name. And he looked at us and said, were y'all switched at birth?
Oh!
Because her name sounded more like he have expected my name to be. And my name is just Kimberly. So at that moment now, I have to go into Rugal mode. Because you have to think before you respond to that in the middle of the mall with a child at home with a legacy and a mouth to feed.
Uh-huh.
So you have to put your, and no matter how, I have a Caucasian friend, she and I are extremely close. And I have to tell her all the time, I don't care how many times you hear about it. You can't live it.
Right.
You know, we understand. No,
you don't.
You don't. And she comes from a culture where she'll say, well, that happens in our culture too. I say no, because when you and I walk into the same place, they see a black woman and a white woman. They don't see black in your nationality. It's black and white. I can never walk in and you have to ask me what I am.
Isn't that something?
They just don't understand.
But you know, the crazy part about that was like, if you had been white, would he have made that same statement? No, he made that statement because you were black.
That's
And
right.
you know
it.
Or
to do
you
with-
switched at birth because he just expected me to have the uncommon name.
That's kind of like
You are absolutely
when
Yeah.
I was born.
Uh-huh.
My mom said, I guess I was one of the only, well, I wasn't the only black one born that day, I don't think. But anyway, a priest was coming in the hospital and saw all the babies and came into each of the mother's rooms to bless them and everything, pray with them over the baby. And he came in and saw my mom. Obviously, I must have been the only black one born that day, but of course I didn't look that way.
I don't.
For the longest.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You feel
So-
skin.
It's like, he's asking her, oh, well, did you have your baby yet? And she said, yes. Had my baby yesterday. And he's looking at her like, well, which one is your baby? She said, the Keller baby. And he looked at her like, and then she said for the longest, she would go around because people would just like, it would take her off guard. One of her friends, she ran into one of her friends and they were at the mall and she had me covered. Let me see that baby. Let me see. And she pulled the covers back. Let me see that baby girl. My mom was like, no, she, sleep in this area in here. Pulled the covers back. Oh, baby, you got, that's a white baby. Really? So it's like, they don't, it wasn't about the name, but it was just because my parents were, and they weren't dark skinned, but still, the brown skin, and I was a white baby. Hello, it's possible.
Well,
Black
yeah.
people are mothers of the earth. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, but it's like, because I've seen some pictures of me. Now I can't, like, they didn't look black. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, oh, when I was a baby, But I'm dark shade, of black. you know what I mean?
Dark shade of black.
We all, I mean, that's just how it happens. But
I've had black folks that I used to work with in Georgia ask me, you're not all black, are you? What are you mixed with? And I'm sitting there
Creole,
looking at
all
them.
that extra stuff. And that's what's crazy. And that's how.
another. Yeah,
And to me, that's where I have an issue because, and we talked about it last week, it's like, are we racist within our own race? Like, how you light skin, you this, you got to be mixed with that. We all mixed with something. But I want to stick with this, the name game really, really quick because even with my friend, I was the nurse and she was the records. And he said, give her your copay. So I don't know if it was the position also along with the name. And the lady, and let me tell you something, when I entered it and the way that I did it, which she was so nice. I took her up there. She was a sweet old lady. She had to be about 90. Mm-hmm. I said, well, let me take you to her, and I said the name. Took her up there. Let me tell you something. And she was white. I didn't think you could get more ghost-like. And then that's when I actually said my name. I was like, and I'm Melanie. She looked, and then my homegirl, she looked, she knew what was going on. Laughed so hard, was like, oh my gosh, I thought that lady was about to pass out because it was more like an assumption. Now with my name, when I was younger, all my friends had like sweet names, like Shaquille, Manel. So, I wanted one of them type of name. Alicia. It was the Ishas that was in.
Yeah.
The Ishas, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm the only one in school. I went to predominantly black school. Coming to school. And here my name is. Melanie Rudolph. Let me tell you something. I did every time I filled out an application. I got called back with that name. And I will never forget I had applied. And that's when I ended up getting that job at as an image counselor. And when I came in there, her face was like, huh? I was like, hi, I'm Melanie. You have your driver's license? I said, I sure do. Melanie Rudolph.
Yes. Your driver's license?
Because when you did your application, boom. But I now see, and remind you, I told you how old I was. So I don't know yet. I'm new to the game. You called me. I'm here for my interview. Now they don't even ask if this is the person. But you have to ask because other people will come in. Listen, I'm telling you, I ain't playing. I've been in position, hiring and firing. Other people will come in for an interview for somebody else. Because if they have you do a urine, boom. Because you figure you won't see that person again, depending on how high you up, who your interview is with. And then, okay, well, I'm going to send you over here. You go to the orientation. Guess who came to the orientation? Somebody that you didn't hire, but you don't see that person anymore. People, listen, the scams is out there. So, like, when I was back then, 16 years old, go in there, and I was like, oh, okay, I gave her my license, but never had to do that before. But yes, bringing on to the next topic, the things people do to get a job. Now, who would do that? So, depending on the corporation, if it's a large one, they go around, and guess what? They ain't even like us that come and do it. How about that?
There's a lot of things that go on that it ain't always us.
It is not us, but I was shocked that actually happened. Somebody else came for the interview, did the urine. We're going to send you to do your urine drug. Now, then they started with the urine drug test with the ID. They implemented that. But before, they didn't. And then they would have you pee in a balloon. They would like pour it in a balloon and pin it to their bra.
You talking about the way they do it.
The way they get it now, because we know that people can't pass it. But yes, before they started IDing people, other people would come in for the interview and get it, and then they would do the urine and all that. They got the job, and ba-dow.
I know a lot of people who use someone else's urine.
Well, they do. They do. And did you know about GM? What's her name? Mary? Allegedly said the issue with the GM and the closing down. I guess they employed 4,000 people, but it was like 1,500. That was off on like sick leave or couldn't pass, the drug test. So they sent them to a drug rehab. So she was losing here, allegedly.
Oh, that she made that statement?
Allegedly. Yeah, I didn't find it. I read a little bit, but when you read somebody else's article, the local article, you don't know if it's factual, but I read it. I was like, that makes sense, because remember the person up in Cleveland wanted to buy so many cars and said that they would use it like 3 years worth of cars as far as like for transportation. I guess like, let's just say for instance, it's Uber or something like that. But she said it's not a good thing. But here's the thing, she's paying all these people that are 1,500 off. So they're not there. So now you got to replace those people, have somebody else come in and work for them to do the work. And in this area, the drug testing was the issue, the people that was off on sick leave or having drug issues. So that it was a little more in depth.
Yeah, but they're talking about, it wasn't like they were like moving the plant though. They're just saying we're not making that car anymore. I mean, it could have had those problems, but I mean, like, this was one thing, and I'm kind of reluctant to even say it.
I don't know why. This y'all talk.
Well, I just
we tell it all. Go ahead. It's our view.
All right.
It does not reflect the view of everybody here.
Like they were saying, it was poor sales for the vehicle, right?
I got one, and I told my friends the reason I bought one. I said, now y'all gone, and my car ain't worth a dime. Go ahead.
My cousin works for GM, and she said they really weren't getting the sales because she's high up and she sells parts. And a lot of people were like, "Well, what about the car that I got? What about the parts?" Because my little cousin just got one, and she said, "Oh, we're always going to have parts."
Okay.
She's like, "You don't have to worry about that. We're always going to have parts." She was like, "But the sales weren't as high as they expected for the cruise."
Okay, go ahead.
A question, and I don't know everybody who works there, but the people who I've known that worked at GM, never owned a car that they actually made.
Interesting.
I'm just saying the people I knew. You know what I mean? Like they the people I knew who worked there, and I don't know a whole lot of people, but the people I knew to work there, they didn't own cruises. They had other cars. I mean, they had.
What was it made from GM?
They had GM cars, but they were like Escalades. They were this. They were that. You know what I mean? Like I'm just wondering, like, how many people. It was a question I was just wondering, like, how many people who worked there actually had those cars.
I think I would, like, if I had an Escalade, well, I don't need a cruise, and my car still works good, so I wouldn't just go and just buy another vehicle, so to speak.
I guess my thing is, like, okay, when... I guess I'm saying, like, okay, for example, I was one time I ran the kitchen, right?
Okay.
And so I remember for a period of time, like, there was nobody else's wings I was buying.
But your own.
But my own.
I get it. And I would. You got to support your own. Mm-hmm. You got to support your own. But I'm saying, if you already bought a car, let's say, what was out the Malibu? They did the Malibu first, right?
Yeah, they're not making the Impala no more.
Okay.
That's what they got rid of 6 cars.
Really?
Okay, so
6 cars.
So
because I
if
thought it
you
was
have
just
it,
the cruise, but it's like 6 cars they taking out.
But I'm not gonna buy another vehicle if I really don't need one, and that one's running good. That's where I'm at.
I'm not saying buy another vehicle because I guess part of my thing is like, oh wow, part of my thing is okay, like
Go ahead.
I think it's like this. Okay. Well, I'm trying to give a real good example. Usually that job is like, okay, like if people could afford an Escalade prior to getting hired to GM, why would they work for GM? Why would they apply for that job if they were making enough money to afford that car prior to working there?
They say they have great benefits.
Yeah, but that's once you start working there. You know what I'm saying? Like I guess I'm saying, like, I think,
right.
Like,
if you got enough money to be able to afford to buy and pay for and finance an Escalade, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just
why apply there.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, I don't know if that's the. I mean, I just don't know. But all I'm saying is that the few folks that I know that work there don't own that car.
Okay. So so you wouldn't buy it?
No, I'm not saying I wouldn't buy it. You know, I'm not saying that at all.
Like, if you work there and buying your own merchandise, then I don't.
No, that's not the argument I'm making.
Okay.
That's not the argument. I'm not sorry.
I worked at Ashley Furniture, but I didn't buy none of their house.
Now why? Because it was too high for you.
It was too high for me.
See, okay. That's where I was at. Like, well, wait a minute. If you ain't buying it,
and I got a 50% discount.
Yeah, I mean, like, her thing was, her thing was like, okay, they may not be paying me a wage high enough to afford the stuff, but here, obviously, they're paying you a wage high enough to afford the product because people are buying cars that are double, 3 times more expensive than that car that they're making.
I got you. Why she talking about something? Ashley, she got 50% off. I wish I had known her then because I got Ashley in the front.
You did know me then, crazy.
Well, I wish I had known you worked for that. No, that was years ago.
I know you now. No, that was just 2 years ago.
No,
I worked there.
No, honey, I had that furniture years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm like years ago.
Yeah, because the thing for me was, like, I actually had looked at because I recently had bought a new car. And I looked at a cruise, but it was just like, it was just too much of me for the cruise. like I was like, oh, this is because I didn't even realize, because the one I seen, like it was in the showroom, and I was like, what's that? And it was a hatchback one, a new
Sharp,
hatchback
yeah.
Yeah, and I looked at that, and then I was like, oh, they don't make that one here. That's the one that's made overseas or in Mexico, and then they bring here. But the point was, I looked at them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But then I ended up getting the next class up. You know, not the next class up of a cruise, because I just couldn't. It just wasn't. I couldn't.
You couldn't fit.
I couldn't. Like I was in it, but it was like I was in it. Like
you ain't
I
felt
was
like a great baby.
Like I was a. Hey, like I was a fighter pilot. I was in that mug, like, we gotta go fly a mission. You know what I mean? It was like it's only room enough to just hit the controls, baby. You know, like if somebody gonna sit behind me, they gonna be, they mouths will, the only person get behind me is somebody in the baby seat.
That's
you
it.
know what I mean? Yeah. So it was like.
So you tried.
Yeah, so I tried.
Okay.
But I couldn't. But I,
like driving a tin can.
Yeah, but I got a Malibu. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
But it was just, that was
you stuck
the
with
thing
American?
I could get it. Yeah. That was the thing that I could, it worked for me. And I'm not a huge fan of trucks.
You're not? I ain't a huge fan of high gas.
Yeah.
And that was my reason for...
And that car had enough trunk space for me. That's why I looked at the hatchback at first, because of what I was doing at the time. I needed trunk space. But, so the Malibu met my needs for that.
Okay. All right. Well, I was talking to a friend of mine, and we're going to move right on over to fathers.
Uh-huh.
She didn't go to her dad's funeral. Now, some people felt that she should have showed up to her dad's funeral, but she didn't go. And when she shared with me what happened and why she felt that way and didn't show up, I was heartbroken for her. Now, is there anything that will prevent you from going to your dad's funeral? Yours would be a little different because I know the history. Be it good or bad, would you not show up to your dad's funeral?
You know what? I feel like this. If it's me, I'm probably going.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Even if he wronged you.
Yeah. But I kind of feel like, to pass judgment on somebody who doesn't want to go, that's their business. Because this is how I feel about it. Were you going to see the person when they were alive?
Good. Now that's good. That's a good answer.
You know what I mean? So if it's like, if you
shut that topic down quick, huh?
If you ain't had no holler for them when they was alive, that's just like, you remember the movie Imitation of Life?
Yes.
I loved you, Mama.
And it's like, hey, that's all after the fact. You can't hug on the coffin. You can hug on the coffin, but that ain't, like, they ain't there no more.
Right.
My sister did that. She didn't show up to our father's, but we were told that she was there before all of the family got there to view the body.
Okay.
But they had issues because my dad had to tell her off because she had some not so nice things to say about my mom. Now, mind you, sweetheart, you were born in between me and my brother. My mother accepted you. You stayed at our house. My mom, a lot of times, the stuff that you got for Christmas came from my mama.
Okay.
So your dad
had eventually told her off about that.
But she did. Okay, and then she got upset.
She got upset, and they didn't talk for a while. She didn't invite us to her wedding when she got married.
Okay, well that's something different.
So this was a step sibling, though. Is this a half sibling?
A half sibling.
My half.
Yeah, because the way you made it sound was like she was the middle child.
Yeah, she coming up like something else going on. Like my mother accepted
She
her.
just had a different mama.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What about you?
I 100% agree with Rugal. That is not a yes or no question. You don't know what the circumstances are. Who am I to judge you? There's a lot that goes into that. I, of course, being the coach that I am, you try to talk about forgiveness, but even that is not a blanket topic. You have to understand what seed was planted to bring about a situation where you wouldn't go to a parent's funeral. I don't know her story. I have no right to say she should have gone. And so I'm with him.
I'm just saying for you though, personally.
Oh, well, I went to my father's funeral. I planned it, paid for it, all of that. But I had to get to a point of reckoning and forgiveness years before that. My father was an alcoholic. My father he could walk out that door, Cliff Huxtable, and come back in King Kong. Just because of the nature of the lifestyle he lived. Mm-hmm. So what I really had to do for myself was say, you know what? He had issues long before I ever showed up. I just got the side effect of my father's drama.
Okay.
So I had to go through my own journey of forgiveness, not just for him, but for me. And as it would turn out, he spent the last 14 months living with me. But the 14 months before he died was the best 14 months of my whole life with him. Because he wasn't drinking anymore. He was able to come to terms. Yes, I went to my father's funeral, but even had it not been for all of that, I still would have gone to my father's funeral. Because for me, when I got to the point of forgiveness, or I got to the point of I have to shed this baggage in order for me to move on, that wouldn't have been the baggage that I wanted to have to shed. So I would have gone anyway. But that's my story. Okay.
Now, here's this story. All the years the dad was there, even with all the siblings. However, he was pretty much sneaking to be her dad. Meaning when they were together, he was her dad. But to the other siblings, he was saying like, no, I don't talk to her and blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. So she ended up getting wind of that part of it. And then one day she went and she was assisting him and helping him. And he didn't know that she was there because he ended up falling ill. And he said, I'll call you back. The help is here. Now, that, and it just crushed me. Because I said, wow. So all this time, those two had a relationship. But you're pretending to other people that you really don't. Mm-hmm. And I felt for her because I too had that situation where with his family, I don't know what he was telling his family, but I had my own. And without putting it all the way out there, when it actually came out and he accidentally introduced me as his daughter, somebody in the family said, what? Because guess what? Over here with me, all is well. But your family think it's something different. Mm-hmm. And I told her, I shared with her, I said, I know how you feel. I said, I found out after too. She was like, huh? I said, that happened. And it did happen. But when he said the help is here and she overheard that, that's when she went boom. And then he ended up passing away maybe like 2 weeks after she heard that. So she like, psh, and she didn't go. And she felt like she didn't go. But the other siblings, here's where my thing was. Why are you upset and trying to say that I didn't go when he already told you that he ain't fool with me anyway? You know what I mean? So for that family, he already told you he don't fool with me. So now you're shocked that I'm not there. But they had their own relationship anyway. And I said, I was there. I was that person. And I'm telling you, when I saw the other family, I was like, huh? Like they had an attitude. So you would hear certain things, but I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, yeah. I said, I understand. Because over here, you got this whole thing. And then, psh, and here's my thing. By him being in the war, he was gone any old way. So he didn't know who, he wasn't spending no time with them either. You know what I'm saying? But you do have people who will act like things are one way and then tell their family something different. Mm. Hence, my ex-husband, I put it on out there. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. It was so funny. My aunt, through marriage, she was like, well, who fouling? Didn't even know. I'm thinking, I was like, oh, I always foul the kids. That's me. She was like, huh? Up here talk about who filed for divorce, and you lying to these people talk about something we getting a divorce to your people. Mm-hmm. I had no clue. I was like, well, what? Totally different. Mm-hmm. So it's like, how much pressure is your family giving you? And that's, I look at it that way. Like, how much pressure is their family putting on them that they feel as though that they have to say this in order to be what? Accepted in your family? And then you're living a double life. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I was in that situation last weekend. I didn't go to my stepsister's funeral because of what I was told, and my sister said that side of the family did not know. That's my stepfather's family did not know, and his oldest daughter, which has a different mother from her other siblings, because her other siblings, the ones here, accept me and call me their sister. You know, my stepsister, and she's been known for 27 years, but the fact that oldest one, that really isn't your sister now, and that side of the family did not know in 27 years, and you felt like you didn't want to tell them, what was I supposed to do? Come and sit around and everybody, oh, this is a friend of the family. Excuse you? So that is why I was here instead of at my stepsister's funeral. And I had to apologize. Yeah, last Saturday. I had to apologize on Facebook to my other step-siblings for not being there for them. But that information that I got from a friend, not even my sister, well, so-and-so's in town and you can't tell her because she don't know, and just because
after as an adult situation. And see, that's where you kind of look and be like, well, I don't want to cause any more issues,
and that's exactly why I didn't.
I'm thinking that's probably what you think.
I think okay.
Or do you want to be the topic of the situation, topic of the conversation? Y'all sitting at the repass, be like, that's the one you. Yeah, they said that ain't really the sister.
Yeah, but somebody's saying it anyway. You know what I mean? Like that conversation is happening because someone's saying something. You know what I mean? I just kind of feel like you go to funerals regardless of what you're. Okay, I think there's one thing. You go to the primary reason is to give your respects for the person, right?
Right.
And then the other one, like, because there's for example. I had a friend in high school who died shortly after high school, had a car accident or something like that. And I went to the funeral, and I never met his family. Never met him. You know what I mean? I didn't know his mom or dad or any of those people. I didn't know them. You know what I mean? But I knew their son. So it made it kind of awkward because, like, what I did know was that, family sits in the front row. You know what I mean? But they look at me like, I don't know who this guy is. They never seen me because I just knew him from school and sports and stuff like that. But I never hung out with him outside of that kind of stuff. And so my thing was, like, I was there to show my respects because I thought he was a fairly okay guy. He was a good guy. You know what I mean? But like there's certain places you go where it's like I don't have this situation, but there's some people that I really don't. That people feel like, oh, you should have a relationship with this person. I'm like, yeah, I ain't got time for all that, And I thought about like that, like should I go? Like if that were to happen, should I go? And my thoughts are, well, did I talk to the person when they are alive? At this point, no, I'm not, but. Sometimes you go because of who else is there.
Now, what if
So like for example, if it's let's say let's say it's a sibling that I didn't talk to. Like we blood, but I do not like you. It's common knowledge we do not like each other. Period. You know what I mean? I may not go to that funeral talking about, I regret not having a relationship with them and all that stuff. But I may go to that funeral and say, well, my mother loved that sibling even though I didn't. So I'm there for her versus being there for the
actual deceased.
Yeah.
I do.
It does.
It makes sense. And that's nice because you're there supporting.
Yeah, because funerals is for the living.
Right. And it is.
When you did. You know what I mean?
It is. But you also had that family member that write the obituary and omit people. So it's like, do I go and I'm here for this, but now I got to read this, and now do I go and piss myself off? You know what I'm saying? Because if you see something in there, you're going to be hurt and be like, I'm already hurt because of this situation. Now, do I need to feel the pain again and in my face? So like you said, they're already talking anyway, and then it's not in there.
Yeah. It usually, and this is the thing.
I've been to a funeral, I'm going to tell you where it happened. And the other family that saw it, they thought it was rude and ignorant, even though you don't share the same mother.
Yeah.
And you don't put that in there. Guess what? They left. They got up and walked out. They was like, that was ignorant. And at some point, you have to just say, okay, this is what happened, but you do have that father in this case, like I'm saying, who might be telling somebody else something different, but have this private relationship over here.
And see, with my sister and my friend that told me, they're going to fall into that situation, put their kids in that situation, that when they pass away, it's going to be like, I know this is my family, but I know my parent didn't want this side of the family to know, and
that's just too much.
My comment was gonna be, because everybody talk about, like, you ever go to they're like, you get a what do they call it, a power, what do they call it?
Power of attorney?
No, before that,
Advance directive.
That, but not that. Like
a living will?
Yeah.
Look, I'm like a living will.
Okay,
Y'all know I used to sell cemetery plots.
Oh,
Go ahead.
But the funny part about it is, like usually, like, those sort of, like, I'm not going to put this person in there or do that, because, like, people be trying to think like there's something on the back end, like the money, the property. Like, I don't want to share this. If I gotta share it 3 ways, I will, but I don't want to do it 4. You know what I mean? And it'd be stuff like that. But because this has been on, and this has been on my mind lately. And I mean, obviously, you know, I went and looked at coffins the other day. But like, I was really thinking about, I should write my own obituary.
Yeah.
Now. But the thing is like, even like when people do that, they worry about splitting up the money or splitting up the property, when they probably should. Like, if you got, like, multiple kids and things like that, you probably should write your own obituary. You know,
I know somebody who did.
Your obituary, all of our stuff is done.
You know what I mean?
But write your own obituary, so can't nobody go in there talking about some fiance. If I ain't tell you I was getting married, that is not my fiance. Quit playing.
Yeah.
A girlfriend. Let it be a girlfriend. I be reading these obituaries talking about something. He leaves his fiance. Did they even talk about being married? You know what I mean? Quit playing with that. If I ain't told you I was getting married,
don't. The girlfriend, the companion was named first, and then the still wife, even though they were estranged, was put in the obituary at the end as "and the estranged wife." Huh?
I seen that where the estranged wife.
Yeah,
I seen that
2 weeks ago. A friend of mine, I was pissed when I read that obituary. Like, y'all still married regardless.
And to me, that's rude. A mother had wrote that in there and said estranged wife.
The sister did
and
this.
I just felt like we didn't even have to know that they was like separated. They still married. Like, how do you do that? But like, you might as well just type it in there, boom. And him and his wife have been separated for like 2 months, so they're not together right now, living separate. You know what I mean? Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I seen something that was like that, where it was like, you know, like it was like the other person was squares in there some kind of way, like they had to give recognition.
Right.
Like, I was just like, it's just crazy.
Especially
it's so
when you
crazy.
know you messing with somebody's husband, you know they're not separated. You ought to expect your name not gonna be in there.
Yeah, that's how do you do that? Like a lifetime partner, this is the wife and this is the girlfriend. Or do you just put it what it is? He leaves his wife and his girlfriend. Just put it on in there. Hey, I'm with your spot of living, so y'all know what's going on. He had a girlfriend.
Because that's who arguing about it.
Right.
You know, like that's who arguing about it after the fact. It's like, you know, I got bad, you know, whatever it is, just pissed off about that, mad about this. But who you mad at? Because I've seen these situations, and sometimes I never hear people refer to the dead person did this and that was jacked up. There's always like the person who
living,
is like, that's the person we got to be mad at. You
know,
it's
guess what? The wife had a good comeback. She posted a picture of her and her husband on Facebook and said, "What's understood don't need explained." Boom, there you go.
Well, he dead. I'm with Rogo. It's the deceased fault. He started all this mess, and I'm saying he because of
the situation.
The situation, yeah. I don't know too many females or too many females that pass away, and a guy talk about something he the fiance. Like, really think about it, or be like, my name need to be in the paper. I didn't realize how important it is for folks' name to be in the paper. Why don't you be successful and get your name in the paper?
Validation.
I was related to them.
Sometimes some of them be using it just to get 3 days off of work. Because, you know, if you can prove that you're the fiance, the sister, the brother.
I know somebody that made a fake obituary to get 3 days off work.
Ooh, That's
Yes.
horrible.
Yes, listen, the deceased was for real, but they added their name in there. Yes, and I know she listened, and I was like, what? And I was like, you can't be wishing that on nobody. She was like, she already dead. And went online, did it, fix it, presented it to...
Amen.
And went to Vegas for 3 days.
Jeez, that's funny.
People shicey. That's why they want proof now.
Yeah.
Let me get a letter from the funeral home
Check
now.
the newspaper too. She'd got busted if they'd check the newspaper.
I think it was from another state, matter of fact, because I even brought that up.
Yeah.
But see, now, that's probably why they implemented, we need a letter from the funeral home.
Yep.
For people like her.
But you can always get a letter. Like
if you know something, if you're cool with somebody.
I mean, if you just walk in there, it's like, oh, it's a funeral. I need a
It's passing them
They want birth certificate.
You know,
Let me
there
see.
you go.
How you related? You first cousin, second
Hey.
cousin. Oh, okay, all right. Hilarious. That is too much. A mess, too. Hey, listen, Barbara Streisand, let's get with these hot topics.
Ooh, I saw that.
Barbara,
Did you
what
see
do?
that? Barbara Streisand commented about this Michael Jackson. I know y'all, Michael Jackson did do it. I know. Look, I'm looking at these people if y'all can see us. Barbara Streisand said Michael Jackson had sexual needs. Molestation did not kill those victims. How you feel
Did
about
she really
that?
say that?
Yes, yeah.
Michael Jackson had sexual needs. Molestation did not kill those
It
victims.
sound like she believed that Michael Jackson probably did it. Y'all see for y'all own self. I ain't making this stuff
Yeah,
up.
I
You
saw
read it?
that because a lot of people said they lost respect for her. They loved her. They followed her. They wasn't following her no more. He did not
Probably
do
from
it.
her saying that the victims,
It
it didn't
sounds
kill
to me
them.
like she's in support of Michael.
Right.
And she is, but my
But
thing
she
is,
said
but she's
those-
thinking that he believing in
Those
it.
victims didn't need help. They went
But
on
what
to thrive. They
That
had
goes
families.
beyond whether or not she believed he did it. That's a loaded statement.
Oh, it's very loaded. But here's my thing: when she said that molestation did not kill
That's
those
deep.
victims, it is true that it didn't physically kill them, but you don't know what it's doing mentally. And not saying him, just period, just victims of molestation. That's why I said whoa.
That's deep on another level.
She was wrong for saying that.
I do like, but my thoughts is like, why she say anything?
Yes, why say that?
Why
because
say-
what she's saying is basically to the victims or alleged, just get over it. I mean, even if, listen to me, y'all know I'm a Michael Jackson fan, but that to me was a very, very below the belt kind of statement.
And you also
pun
can
intended.
look at it this way.
Right.
Maybe she was a victim of molestation and nobody knows about it, and maybe this is why she said what she said. You can look at it that way too.
Yeah, I guess you. I don't know. You know, different people respond different ways. I thought it was just rude because even if it wasn't him, just like as a victim, I think that was rude to say it didn't kill you.
That was totally insensitive. That was inappropriate. For what, to me, that just goes beyond whether or not you think he did it. For any survivor of molestation, that is an insult.
It is. Now, with those particular people that she's talking about, you already was on the stand. You already said he didn't do it, and now you're coming back saying he did. It's over. It's over.
With the little article I read.
And then,
she
just like what
explained
Rugal
that.
said, he dead and gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can't try somebody that's, even though I
If
posted
he
that
was
meme.
still alive, he was acquitted.
Yeah, like old R. Kelly. R. Kelly won, moving on to R. Kelly.
My thing is,
R. Kelly-
if he was still alive, would they come back with this same thing?
But usually people that are victimized, they won't actually face, their predator or...
Well, hold on. How old were they at the time of the court? At the time of the trial, they were older. They were like adults,
10.
weren't?
No.
They were kids.
They were kids.
still
Like,
young.
yeah, they were still young, and they said, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And now they're grown.
But they still old enough to say yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
No, yes, he did. No, he didn't.
I'm going to share this because
Like,
I
why
felt
would
that
their
way.
lawyer tell them to say that it wasn't true?
Right.
I'm just saying, like, you get
We
prepped to
don't
go
know.
on.
We don't know.
This is you getting prepped to go to trial, and they're
Why would the parents let your child sleep with
a
in
girl
the room
man?
a grown man?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know who prepped them and what happened.
But I'm just saying, like, why would they not tell the truth at that time when everyone's telling them to tell their truth?
Back in 2000, that I don't know.
And
Back
they-
in 2012, I had a guest on the show. You probably remember this. This is when I was on WASN. And this guy, he wrote me a letter. Then he came in and he shared a story. And he felt that he kept seeing this local pastor.
I remember this.
With all these young boys. And he said he just wanted to speak out. And this was during that, was it 12 or 13? When the Penn State situation happened. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was later.
Okay. It was during that time then, whatever year that was. And long story short, he said he sees this pastor. And this is why, because I said, well, why do you want to come on here? What's your motive? That's it. What do you want to gain from this? And he said, just so that people be aware and pay attention to their children. So he was a young man. And he said, and hear me, I allege it. He said, and because I won't say who the local pastor is. Yeah. He said that he was molested by this pastor. And this pastor has a wife. And he's described the house. And he's been inside the house. And he was one of those kids. His father wasn't in his life. And he kind of just was like a recluse. He was a little different, odd. And I hate to say odd, but you know, you have your quote unquote, air quote, misfits. And this pastor came to him and was talking to him. And then he was like, all right, boom, the grandmother was sending him, la, da, 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 fast forward a little bit. Anyway, the pastor offered him $50. That was the first. Offered him $50 and to do acts to him. So, of course, I'm like, wait a minute, what? And y'all could go back on, I don't even know if you can go back because it was on WASN. But he was saying how it started. And he said, and I see this pastor and I just don't want other kids to become a victim. The grandmother ended up, she was listening to the show and he didn't want to go with the pastor, but the grandmother kept saying, cast the demons out of him. He don't want to go with him, you know, thinking that he was just rebelling and had no idea that that was actually occurring. So I said, well, can you face? I said, well, why don't you say something to him? Can you face him? Let me tell you something. I sat across from him just like we are right now. And the fear that came on his face as an adult male, he was like, oh no, I can't do that. But he spoke behind the microphone, but he wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And I said, now I'm thinking these grown people, you know, we could sit there and be like, you ought to be telling it. Da, 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 da. It was when he was talking, he was confident, ba, 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 ba. And then when he came and I asked him if he was able to confront him right now, what would he say? And you can hear it through, it was like, he was like, you heard the gas. He was like, oh, no. So it was almost like this adult had that much control and he went right back into the little boy that he was.
They're very good. I was going to say, because what you are describing is the point of the pain. A lot of people say, I don't want to relive my childhood. I don't want to go back there. But oftentimes, in order to be okay here, you have to go back to where that seed was planted so that you can pull that root up and replant. Mm-hmm. And when you have not yet gotten to that place, he is still that little boy who was molested by that pastor. He's still there. It doesn't matter how old you get. And we say it all the time and we don't even realize we're saying it. Oh my gosh, you are so immature. Or you still acting like this. Or you need to grow up and get a life. I mean, we're saying it every day, but we really don't hear what we're saying. You can get older. Time is still going to pass. You're still going to pass through it. But that mental place where that change in your identity, that change in your sense of worth and value, at that place, often people are still there. And when you are taught to respect certain levels of authority, where you are taught to respect certain persons of influence, it is just not because you've reached a certain age now that you can just step up and say this happened. My issue with the Michael Jackson case is, I'm not saying that these boys, should this actually have happened, or should be at a different place. My point with this whole case is, it was tried, they had their input, it was acquitted, and that's over. My point with this. And what accountability do you want him to have? My point last week was, okay, if this happened to you, because none of us was there, none of us really know except for those who were there and do know, take your time and resources to help those who are still living that nightmare. Where is your go out and do your public speaking against it without speaking against him? Just because of the accusation, just because of all of the publicity around it. For those who are really going through this, Where are you actually advocating for them? Where are the people for them to talk to? Where is that safe place? Where are the resources? Because we can't go back and do anything to Michael now, even if there was 100% proof he did it. Where do you get a position out of that is going to satisfy you and move you forward?
Well, I think the issue is a civil case against the estate.
So you're talking money now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's their motivation,
that's the
probably.
angle.
I think it's over. I think it was money at the beginning. I believe that these people, you done pimped your kid, and you hoping something like that happen.
So what you gonna do with the money? Because Michael still did it. He's still gone. So what you gonna do if that's your position? Do something good with it if you're going to do something like this.
I just think it's just really, really sad. And I want to finish. The grandmother was listening to the show. And the grandmother called there and she apologized. I spoke to the mother after. The mother was devastated because she was a single mom and she thought that she was doing the right thing, having a male influence. So she felt a lot of the guilt. And we're talking about with the local situation. And again, this is alleged. He let it be known out there. But when he saw this guy going to marching, it was a parade. And with all these young boys, that's what it took him back to that place. So the moral of the story is listen to your children. Don't let your children have a slumber party with grown men. That's one.
Or grown women.
Or grown women,
Anymore.
because that particular guy, fast forward, he ended up becoming a prostitute. Mm-hmm. And as an adult, that's what he did. And I needed to know why and how did you get into this? And he shared what ended up happening. And he said, you'd be shocked with, the different women. I was like, oh, women out there paying for it too. Mm-hmm. Shocked like a mug, but he was just doing what he's doing. And as time went on, he ended up being positive for HIV years, later. Mm-hmm. So that's his story. Anyway, I just feel like pay attention to your children. If they say they don't want to be somewhere, if they say that you have, even if it's not, same sex, homosexuality, it could be heterosexual. That actually could play a part. Mom bringing a new boyfriend in. He touched me this way, and mom mad, talking about that's her dude. Get your life. Get your life. Pay attention to your children. Grow them up. When they move out, and then you can see where things are going. Because I do know of a young girl where the mom ended up being jealous of the daughter, and the mom did remove the boyfriend, but she felt like her life would have been a lot different and she'd have been happier because she was truly in love with him. So she was still mad at that daughter as adults. And that daughter is still waiting for that validation. Go ahead and say it.
Validation.
From her mother to say that she's proud of her. All right, moving on. So, speaking of pastors, now I've got to give y'all a little hot topics that we ain't get to go over before. I'm going to hurry up and do that real quick. Pastor John Gray. Y'all know him?
Mm-hmm. The Book According to Gray or something, the TV show is.
Well, Pastor John Gray, he was in the news for having an affair on his wife. But it wasn't a sexual affair. It was an emotional affair. Which one would you prefer if you had to choose? Because we know neither one. Which one is worse, the sexual or emotional? Opposite for you.
Probably emotional. It would probably be the worst.
Okay. I'll get an explanation later. Go ahead. Sexual or emotional?
Which one is worse?
Mm-hmm. If you had to choose.
The worst one would be emotional.
Okay. And you?
I would say sexual. I don't know. I'm up in the air with that one.
Really?
I don't know which one would be worse to me.
Okay. Go ahead. Explain, go into a little more detail as far as...
Because I guess the thing is sometimes people, they act based off of other things. Like, okay, if you have a sexual relationship with somebody, you can be like, hey, I didn't like them. Like, I don't love them. I'm not invested in them. But I did take liberties and have a sexual relationship with them. If it's once, twice, whatever, many times. But when it's like emotional, when it's like, hey, okay, I'm married, but I have to have another confidant because I can't, I feel like I have to, this is a person I connect with on a higher level. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's like one of those things where it's just like, well, what is your partner's role now? You know what I mean? Because there's several, there could be reasons why people cheat. that go beyond like I'm emotionally connected to you.
Now, here's my question, and this is for you, Kim Ham, the go-to girl. We're talking Pastor John Gray, an emotional affair. Busy, public figure. Where did he find the time to have this emotional connection where he actually confided, just like Rugal was saying, confided in another woman?
Well,
Like where, I mean, just thinking like how, where do you find time? And this is just for everybody. If you're busy all day, somebody being neglected. Like it shouldn't have been, to me, it shouldn't have been a surprise to the wife. I'm like, okay, you're going here, there, and to have an emotional affair, not a sexual one, just like Rugal said, sexual, okay, boom, bam, we bumped into each other, here you go, bam, it was just sex and it's over. But to have an emotional affair, that takes time. And it's like, where did he find the time? And how do you recover?
It could also be opportunity. It doesn't even have to. We are emotional beings, and we are driven to fulfill a need. We are driven to feel connected. We are driven to feel engaged. Now, I have to use this as an example only to illustrate my point.
Okay.
Because Rugal and I are not having an affair. Let me start with that. Rugal and I sit right next to each other every Saturday. And we talk to each other and we talk around each other every Saturday. I'm starting to hear some of his value system. I like to hear a man who can speak well. I like good articulation and diction. I like insight. Okay? He has all of that.
Well, thank you.
He does. But let's say I'm married, which I'm not, and I go home every day to someone that I don't sort of feel that connection to. I don't have those kinds of conversations with. Now, all of a sudden, I'm looking forward to Saturday. Now, mind you, I only see the man once a week for 2 hours. But now I'm looking forward to it because I'm getting intrigued by the conversation and the way he carries himself. And I've heard about his background. He has a little stuff going on. And, the way he feels about his son. And all of a sudden, because I'm on the road all the time, because I'm working on, twice a week with Rugal, there's starting to be a shift. Because emotional and mental things are starting to occur that I may not be getting at home, not because there's anything wrong with my husband, but like you said, I'm busy and circumstances don't allow us that anymore.
Okay.
But is that making sense?
It is. It's almost.
So sometimes it's not just time, it's circumstance.
That's why a lot of affairs at the workplace occur.
Exactly.
Okay.
People have their military spouses. I hear that all the time. When people get deployed, they have all these relationships, especially I heard it in the Navy. Because now you're on this ship for all these months with all of these same people. Relationships develop. You're lonely for home. You can relate to that other person. They understand what's happening. But at the moment that they get off that boat, it ends. So sometimes emotional affairs and even physical ones are circumstantial.
Now, what they call that? Military spouses. And you know what they called us when they was gone for 6 months? Military widows. And I ain't lying. They be like, oh, the ship is gone. And then they go to the club and boom, they be like, oh, okay, you're a military widow. When you had your little ID and go, what's that mean? And it was a whole bunch of
it's a whole
women.
Different culture.
Wow.
You have those in the military. They sitting there crying, especially with back in Iraqi war. When my brother went and I had to take him to drop him off because I was living in Georgia with my brother when he was stationed at Fort Benning. There was a lot of the wives there falling out, crying.
And then be with somebody else after. I seen it because I was a military spouse.
Go to the club that night.
Yep, that was it.
Shaking their butt on some other man.
Because guess what? I was at the club and I was new to this. I was like, okay, they said we're going out. They was happy. And we lived, in a community. I was just totally shocked. So I've actually witnessed that. So how do you recover from that situation, Kim Ham?
Well, the one way to recover from it is to go back to how you got into it in the first place. We don't like to do that. But if you baked a cake and something is wrong within that cake, it's already baked, but what went wrong? Were the eggs rotten? Did you not add enough of this? Did you put something of that shouldn't have been? Not because you can fix that cake, but so you won't make that same mistake with the next cake. Because just because the chocolate cake went bad this time doesn't mean you no longer like chocolate cake.
Okay.
So now let's see what happened with this cake so that it doesn't happen to that cake again. We don't know what put him in that position to have this emotional affair. But I will say that meant that there was something that he believed was emotionally defect somewhere else, intentional or not. That doesn't mean there was anything wrong with her mentor. I think that's her name. There's nothing wrong with her. Mm-hmm. It's just that something in that connection emotionally, whether it was conversation, something in common, something drew these two people together that caused a disconnect, or the disconnect caused something to bring these two people together. You have to go back and see what started it. Where was the beginning of the breakdown?
Okay, go ahead.
The cooking analogy.
I know you
do. Because it's so, I mean, because like bacon and like, because you can make mistakes sometimes when you make it, when you're cooking. Right. But you can kind of correct it. Like, oh, if I just put a little bit more of this in there, if I do this, if I do that, you can.
Because you can taste it along the way.
But when you bake, like, once you put it in there, it's a great analogy. That was always something I said. I always admire bakers because they got to get it right the first time.
But what if your mistake cake is the bomb and the bestseller?
Then it wasn't a mistake.
Then it wasn't a mistake. You're like, how do I make that again?
How do we do that again? Well, now no, you got to see how you can do that again in the proper pan.
I will say this, as a female, and I'm not taking the blame for like if a male actually does cheat on a female. So don't think that I'm saying, hey, women, you are to blame. But I just want you to open your mind and to think about it this way. As a female, we tend to want men to confide in us. We're like, oh yeah, but can we really handle it? If they speak their truth, can we really handle it? And then let's be real. Once we get that truth, we tend, as a female, I'm going to keep it 100, we tend to always think about us. How's it affecting us? Because I already told y'all how I feel about me and how it affected me. So if he confides in you and he's saying this, we always go back to reverting to us and saying it's our fault, or why is he doing this? And I don't make him do that. You get on the defense. Okay. So that's where I'm like, what we're always ready to throw stones and judge. Let me put it that way. Mm-hmm. And in a relationship, we do that. So if some guy comes to us and say, and here's just an analogy, you know what? I like this and this in the bedroom. Immediately, this is the example I'm using. Well, I like to do A, B, C, and D in the bedroom. We've been married for about 5 or 10 years. Immediately, this is an example. Well, who you been with? Went back to us. Well, who you been with? Ready to judge. Because we ain't do this before. And all of a sudden, you coming to do this. Who you talking to? Ready to throw stones instead of him saying, and being able to say, I'm getting kind of bored with this. Can we try something new? And it doesn't even have to be sexual. How about you talk too much at this time and I just need my space? And that's his stuff, space. Mm-hmm. But I'm that person where I need quiet time. Not that I'm trying to dog you or I don't want to talk to you. I just can't talk at that time. I need some me time. That's how I am personally. And if it's like I need me time from a male's perspective, would he be like, well, is she talking to somebody else? Why does she need some me time? And why is she not trying to talk to me? Guess what? Well, with the partner that I have, guess what he says? Text. Okay, good. Me too. So what? So pretty much he needed him some me time, but he don't want me to feel neglected. So it's like, oh, let me go ahead and call her. But I do. Sometimes you need that recoup time. And it's like, I'm not saying I don't like you and I don't want to be with you. But as females, we push ourselves. Here you go. Instead of saying, here's some food, you need something, you hungry, and then go on. Not that they want to not be around you, but we tend to draw a conclusion. Well, who you with? Mm-hmm. Well, wait a minute. Well, maybe he talking to this person when that's not it. When they've been compromising in a marriage, they've been compromising this whole time, and now they're getting back to them where they say, I need some time. Doesn't mean that they're stepping outside the box. So again, and I'm going to ask you, Kim Ham, the go-to girl. Can we want our men to confide in us, but can we really handle it?
It depends on how the relationship was built. It
was built on compromise. See, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so if the relationship was built on compromise, what did you sacrifice? Did you compromise in communication? Did you submit to something that you didn't want to do in the first place, and now you're ready to stand up on your own? And I'm going to use this one friend of mine as an example. Her father was the ultimate provider for his wife and her. The mom worked, he worked, but whatever needed to happen in that home, her father made sure it got done. You know, that the home was meticulously kept, the yards, all of this. So she gets married, and her husband wasn't like her father, but she's going to work with that after they get married.
Okay.
Mistake number one. Because he wasn't like that when you married him. Now, for the next 11 years, you're mad because the things that you see that need to be done around the house, and you've carried all of the bills, not financially, but you making sure they get paid.
Right.
Now you're tired. And you want him to start stepping up and doing some of these things because that's what you're used to seeing. That's what you wanted, but he didn't come that way. Now you're going to fix him. So what you have to do is go back to the point where the insult occurred. You married him with compromise as part of your situation. That's in your cake now. So either you're going to have to eat that cake, destroy it, and bake another one.
Or make cupcakes.
Or
Smaller cakes.
So yes, I do believe that you can listen to what a man wants to say, but it has to go back before you ask the question. Did you two have that type of communication system in the first place? Were you able to accept? And was he able to accept? Because it ain't always women. Men trip too. But I do feel that it's harder on the man because he is expected to always be the rock. He is expected to always be the one to have to come through. He's expected to be the one to pump you up.
Their provider, the head of the household.
Into that situation waiting for him to pump you up in the first place, that was your compromise. You didn't go in it feeling confident with your ability to bring something to that relationship. You went into it confident with his ability to make you feel okay about it.
All right.
You willing to hear the truth?
That's it.
That's before you ask the question. That's before. When you say to that man, "I want the truth," remember what kinds of truths you set up in him before you asked him that question.
Well, amen. Now I got to move on to the next one because we're running out of time real quick. All right, here we go. Are we ready? If your child, 23, mom, let's say mom is like 55, work in the same place. Now you work in the same place. Get the picture. You work in the same place. Your child has an opportunity to advance in the company, to be a manager. The only thing is, in order for your child to have this position, the parent has to quit. Which choice would you make? And we got to do this real quick. I know you got to think about it.
I wouldn't take if I was a kid, I wouldn't take the position.
Boom. Okay, what's yours?
I wouldn't take the position if I was the kid.
And yours?
I wouldn't take the position.
And I like that because I felt the same way. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just me. I'm like, the child is 23 and your parent, y'all both work together. If you don't take the position, both you guys still have your job. And at 55, how hard is it to go out and find another job at 55?
Not depending on how many years the person put in with the rate of pay they're making, all that kind of stuff.
Right. So in order to go out and find another job, that's going to be let's be real, the base start, $6 less than what you're making.
Mm-hmm.
And we live in a different time today. 23-year-old person may not even want to be on the same job in 5 or 10 years from now.
That's where I was at. Well, I'm going to tell y'all the answer to this. Mm-hmm. The child took the job and the mama's out. Yeah. Now, I didn't know if it was a cultural thing or not, but I asked some other people of other cultures, and they said the same thing. They were like, no. They said, this was a young girl. She said, my mom would say, you go ahead, and I would say, absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, very different. I just wanted to get y'all opinion on that. Let me move on here. I want to let you guys know this is informative information, okay? Quizzes on social media sites are hacking your account. I don't know if you guys know that when you put that information in. There was an Iranian couple arrested due to public proposal, and it went viral. They was arrested. The police say the pair offended Islamic morals on public decency. Now, y'all know we don't do that over here. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that? I mean, I guess you can't just go over there and tell me we're going to do the American way. We're going to do it the American way, do a public proposal. Like, they got arrested for it.
They got arrested for, he proposed to marry her.
In public.
In public, and they got arrested.
They got arrested. An Iranian couple, they got arrested.
Because that was against their culture for him to do that?
Yes. the police say that they offended the Islamic morals on public decency. So that's what that was about. I was like, ooh. Now, y'all, I know by now, because I tried to save this from last week, the woman who got injured by the jaguar in the zoo, did you hear about that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, 2 weeks ago, this happened. Now, the woman, here's what's crazy. If you don't know, the woman went beyond the barrier to take a better picture.
A selfie.
A selfie. Yeah, like I'm up in the air like I got a selfie for real. For real. Then she complained about the barrier not being large enough, so she shouldn't have been able to cross it.
Yeah.
You big dummy, you was old enough not to know better.
Yeah. And she said something about the fence needs to be like
it don't need
larger.
Reach out.
It don't need
I'm
to
like,
be nothing.
You clearly know.
You crossed the barrier.
The
barrier. Yeah. I seen how she tried to flip it
You're
and make it
old
the zoo's
enough
fault.
to know better. Period. Point blank. It don't matter how high that thing could be 6 feet high. If you want to go over there and be dumb to take a picture with something, you gonna crawl up them 6 feet
if that
barrier and get that picture.
If that barrier was a rope, it's still a barrier.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you want to take a better picture and then you get hurt. Thank God she ain't died. Well, at least they ain't do him like Harambe. Remember the gorilla?
Yeah,
they done
they
put him
shot
out.
the gorilla.
They kept the jaguar. But I'm like, girl, bye.
Yeah.
Go.
And the Harambe situation is a little bit different though, too, though.
It is,
Like,
'cause
the
a kid-
the kid was inside the thing.
Because the kid climbed over the barrier.
Yeah,
But it was a
Harambe
kid.
shouldn't have got
Because
shot, though.
I don't believe that.
I'm like,
The
where's
parents
the
weren't paying
tranquilizers?
attention.
Why is it like trinket? You like, bing,
And when I looked at the Harambe thing, he was protecting her.
He was protecting that child.
And that's
He
how I
wasn't doing
looked
that
at it.
to
He's, and of course, oh, look how rough. Well, that's an orangutan. Little
Yeah.
monkeys
they
could
do
probably
their
do
own
that.
babies like that.
Yeah.
So he
And I
was
just-
looking at that baby
And I felt
protecting
when
that
they
baby.
went raw and crazy and screaming, he probably like, took the baby to a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel, I'm like not a orangutan lover. I'm nervous with, and they smart as all get out. I'm nervous with them. But I felt like he shouldn't have been killed. Hey, did y'all know that Jennifer Lopez was engaged again? I know you don't care.
It's an A-Rod, right?
A-Rod,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. I think I seen something like that. Yeah.
Alex Rodriguez. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, this will be her fifth marriage. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Liz Taylor.
This will be her fifth marriage, but her sixth engagement.
Okay,
She's been
Liz
married 5
Taylor.
times?
Uh-huh.
All I knew about was the Mark Anthony guy.
Oh, no, she didn't been married.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I thought you were
Mark
gonna-
Anthony was the last one. Matter of fact, that's who introduced him.
I thought you was going to bring, so they just, people was like, hey, man, just pass it around. Is everybody...
And that's how I feel. Like, I feel like, how many, not that I ain't,
Like,
I
yo,
ain't counting her,
hey,
it ain't no J-Lo Coochie Chronicles or nothing like that. But I'm thinking like, you got 5 marriages, okay, and we ain't gonna talk about the people that you dated in Hollywood, but you're making it clear what's boom, 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 boom. She still look great, so I guess it don't even matter. You
Like
can make
I said, Liz Taylor did it, so why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that didn't mean it was
That
a good
mean-
idea.
Yeah, I went to room. It ain't a good idea.
I mean, you do it, but I'm
Because
just saying.
why can't you hold on? Why can't you keep them?
I don't know, but I thought you was going to talk about how that the 10-day diet thing. Like they call it the J-Lo diet or so. It's so stupid. All it is really is like don't eat nothing. It's like, it's like basically no carb diet. You know what I mean?
You ain't
For
eat
10
nothing.
days or whatever. Yeah, anybody gonna lose weight. You don't eat any carbs for 10 days. But it's so funny that they kind of like labeled it that. I'm thinking like, no, you got Mayo Clinic, you got all these other Atkins, you got all these other diets that's the same thing. She just happened to be doing it for 10 days. And they're like, take it back to this. Tell you what, do you want better? Go 21 and just do Daniel. That's
How
the
about
Bible.
that?
You know what I'm saying?
Do that one. Be like,
just do the Daniel. And that you can eat, you have some carbs in that, So
hey, all right, let's do the quick tips. Here's today's Q-tips. It is regrets. Regrets. Is there anything that you regret?
oh.
You want me to keep on going?
Oh, I mean, you can. Let's start on that.
All right, go, Nick. Is there anything that you regret?
God, yes.
Just name one real quick.
Not studying enough in college.
Okay, you got a regret?
I can't even go there.
Okay, she can't go there. Do you have one?
I got Plenty.
I was gonna say, I have to say alphabetical, chronological.
Like, you know what I mean? I mean, like, and it's like you can regret, like, okay.
Oh, I regret not having more respect for my money.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's it.
That ain't no.
That's an easy one.
That's a middle class answer.
Middle class.
That's a middle class
I
regret.
regret following a boyfriend to college instead of taking that 4-year full ride to Edinburgh.
Oh Lord!
Yeah,
look,
my
we all like, ooh, that's a regret.
Ain't nobody gonna tell that.
That was the start of it.
Okay,
You can
go
say
ahead.
whatever you want.
Go
Ruth.
ahead.
Ain't gonna tell
Go ahead. What's your regret?
Wow.
You're right.
If we-
You win.
I would regret. I remember I had a conversation like a long time ago, and people was like, "You don't be working out no more or doing any of that kind of stuff." Like I was like, "Yeah, because weights is heavy. I don't want to lift the heavy. You know, I wish I'd have just kept working out, never stopped.
All right. Well, I will
That's
tell
the-
you some
That's
regrets.
the easy one.
Some regrets, and actually, I surveyed people
Oh.
over 50. Yeah,
People over 50.
people
Well, this
over.
ain't their demographic.
But wait a minute. No. People,
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the people over 50. I'll give you all of them. And I'll give you the people over 50. 50 to 72 was the oldest.
Yeah.
That I surveyed. Okay. So here we have standing up to bullies, breaking up with your true love, lack of confidence, living the life of their parents. The life that the parents want them to live. Applying for a position. Not doing their part in the marriage, not finishing school, and being a better parent. Now, here's the thing with the elderly people. This is what they say. Now, follow this one.
Okay.
They wish they hadn't worked so hard. The other one is expressing their feelings. They wish they had expressed their feelings. Here's another one. Making decisions based off of what other people think. They wish that they hadn't done that. This one is for the guys. How about this one? Allow themselves to be happy. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I said, how many men stay in a situation for the happiness of others? These were all guys that said that one.
I would say yeah.
You would say yeah to
I
them?
coach several men who feel that way.
Okay, and here's the last one. Stayed in touch with their friends. They wish they had stayed in touch with their friends. Now, I want to get past this real quick. This is what you can do, because you know I'm not going to give you an issue without some type of input of a solution. Be true to who you are. Do you understand that once, if you regret things, here's the thing. As long as you have life, you can always go back. That's it. So pretty much don't cry over spilled milk. Just go ahead and get some more milk. All right? That's it in a nutshell. But go ahead. Did you want to elaborate on it? We got 2 minutes.
It was one thing about the bullies. You said they
regret not standing up to bullies.
Oh, not standing up to bullies. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Those are regrets, and I kind of like just went down.
Okay.
Yeah, not standing up to bullies. They feel as though that they should have stood up. That other one was a big one, and all of them said the same thing as far as they wish they had not made decisions based off of what other people think.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, I did an exercise like this the other day, and I was going to write something like that, but I didn't. I did because of the audience. Like it might have been it might have been alone.
Based off of what other people think.
It was a little bit deeper than that because it would have impacted somebody else that was in the room. But
was that that's like when your parent or pastor? You be like, I know they're gonna talk about what happened.
Yeah.
You said it impacted the person in the room, so you gonna take this time and I'm gonna use this platform to tell them what I really feel. Is that it?
Nah, this ain't the time. Ain't the time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You want to add to that at all?
Sometimes you just have to chase the no's, and the yeses then aren't so hard. When growing a business, they'll tell you chase 100 no's. That way the sting isn't so bad.
There you go.
To add to that, I happened to there was an interview with the guy who does FUBU. What's his name? Damon something. And he was saying he got turned down by 27 banks before he actually got funding to do whatever he did to start. I know that sound.
What's that sound?
That sound is
Mel's Medical Moments. Hey, listen, I ain't telling y'all to drink Coca-Cola because I don't drink unless I got a burp real good. But I'm gonna give you some. I'm gonna give you some positive uses for Coca-Cola. Did you know that it scrapes off? Like you can use it for scraping icy windshields. Mm-hmm. Interesting, right? First aid on a jellyfish sting. When you said the sting in that hard, I was like, let's go on back. Yeah, I don't plan on getting stung by a jellyfish because I ain't getting in that type of water. Listen, it's used to bake cakes. Didn't we just talk about cakes?
Yeah.
I was like, barbecue sauce? Like what?
Barbecue sauce. I know that. That's Dr. Pepper.
Okay, hold on. You could clean your change, like your coins.
Yeah.
Take it back to the original color. That's off the hook.
Yeah.
Remove marker stains from carpet. So if you have little kids that write on that, yes. Fertilize plants. Loosen rusty bolts. Because isn't that what they said? Like you pour that on like your battery for corrosion? And guess what? It neutralizes a skunk scent.
I didn't know that.
How about that?
Coca-Cola bath.
Coca-Cola bath.
Tomato.
Yeah, Coca-Cola. And then also you could curl your hair.
Huh?
You just take you just rinse the cans out, use the Coca-Cola cans, big loose curls. You ain't got to buy that 5-inch barrel.
See, I thought you was talking about use it as a conditioner.
I knew you were.
You got to be clear about that. Because go ahead.
Yeah, positive uses of Coca-Cola. Now here's my thing. After looking at all of this stuff, I don't know if I want that inside my body, but that's probably why I burp so good.
Yeah.
Burp so good.
Burp so good. Be like stomach go in like bam. Be like, is this a 6-pack?
You know what's funny about that? Because the only thing you didn't mention was, excuse me.
Burp so good without Coca-Cola.
That Coca-Cola seems to be the only cola that you can make a proper rum and Coke with. Like if you try to use like Pepsi or some other kind, it don't taste right.
Gotta be rum and Coke.
Yeah, like it just I don't know why. I don't even drink rum and Coke, but I used to.
Okay.
And, like I tell you how
hey, don't drink and drive. Let me add that to the Mel's medical moments. But go ahead.
But I'm just saying, if you do drink rum and Coke. Or rum and cola. Just try it with different ones. You know what I mean?
It don't taste right with the different colas. It has to be Coca-Cola brand.
I don't know why. It's just weird. I don't know why that is.
All right. Well, there you have it. Mel's medical moments.
Yeah.
Don't play yourself at the bar.
Like, what is that y'all got?
The same thing with a Coke float. And the root beer float. There's certain root beers. And the Coca, it has to. If you're gonna have a Coke float, don't use cheap cola. You use Coca-Cola with that ice cream.
Well, that is a very good commercial. Y'all did a very good commercial.
I'm just saying. That's the thing. I would say. Because you can use cola, different colas to get the same effect to strip stuff like the corrosion, but it just. I don't know. It's something about that one.
Have a rum of Coke and a smile.
Have a coconut. What you say? Have a Coke. Have a coconut smile. All of that lovely stuff. Any last words on today's everyday people? Any last words?
You start with me?
Yeah, I'm starting with you. Or you want me to go with Nick? Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah.
Any last words of advice? Because we got to do that on Shop Talk. We got to give them something.
Don't have regrets. Follow your first mind. Do what you're supposed to do. Follow your first mind. No regrets.
And you're right. And usually when you follow that second one, you second guess yourself. I'm like, go ahead, Kim Ham, the go-to girl.
Piggybacking off of that, every day is the first day of the rest of your life. Don't look back, look ahead.
Okay.
Wow.
Listen, I was like, that's air quotes, but then she finished it with her own. Kim Ham, the go-to girl.
In the words of Bon Jovi, it's your life, it's thou or never. I guess that's all I have.
All right, and I'm gonna tell you, if you go to the dentist and get your teeth cleaned, don't let them try to tell you that they need to extract some teeth. Because I went and I had an appointment to get my teeth cleaned. They cleaned my teeth. The dentist came in the room. They were like, the little dental assistant, she gonna say, extract 17, 18, 13. And 3.
All of them.
Listen, and in my mind, 3 mean the front. That sounds close to the front. I was like, wait a minute, what? The lady said my teeth was fine. I said, who are you talking to? She's like, I was talking to the dentist. I said, about me or another patient? Guess who was out of there? Me. I just came for a teeth cleaning. Y'all talking about taking teeth out of my mouth? Get your life. I ain't doing that. No. I got up, grabbed my things, and I'm gone.
Wow.
So
I was going to say this. I've been watching a lot of daytime television lately, and I was like looking at the people's teeth, and I'd be like, look at it, like. It's a lot of people, like, I'm going to do a bigger study on this.
okay.
But it just made me think, I was like, what's going on? Like, it's a lot of people who be on those shows that don't have, like, it's clear.
Good dental.
Yeah.
They go to my dentist. They gonna extract them.
But it's like, I don't even know, like, some of it is, it could be they don't get cleanings, or they don't floss, they don't brush, it's like, I'm looking at it like, oh, look at that. Because they'll have them, but they be looking like they got
that's
like
these new
glue
TVs.
in between them.
Ooh,
like
that's these new TVs. You see everything.
Is that the new TV?
Maybe you got a real extra
I just
crisp
wanna be like,
high HD or whatever it's called.
This eat an
High
apple.
definition.
Eat an
apple to floss.
Work that bottom row, man. I'm like, what is going on?
Oh, they ain't flossing. Next week on Shop Talk, we're going to talk about teeth. How about that? Hey, lovely people, let me give you today's footnote. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taking according to Oscar Wilde. I like that one. All right. So it is 12. Y'all know what it is. Find you. Embrace you. There we go. And most importantly, what we gonna do? What we gonna do?
Find you, embrace you, be you.
Be you.
What? How y'all gonna be a part of this all this time and y'all talking about something and be you?
That
No,
is it.
it is not it. It's find you, embrace you, and most importantly, always love you.
Okay.
Yes. Here go our little outro while we exit the building. What y'all know about this? This here take you all the way back. Y'all already know. All the way back. We're going to wait for that to go ahead and load. There you go. Until next week, people. Let's do that one more time. Until next week, people. Shop Talk. There we go. Love you for listening.